This is guaranteed to happen in the Championship in match day 4, at least in my opinion. We've got my Championship predictions going ahead into game week 4. What a start to the season we've had already in the Championship. Some unbelievable results. And let's go into the next predictions that we've got for game week 4. If you're a Championship fan, do hit subscribe on this channel. It just takes 1 second. If you're a fan of any of these clubs in the Championship, if you're a fan of the Championship in general, this is the place to be. Do hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second. Please do hit that subscribe button. And do drop a like as well if you do go on to enjoy the video. It'd be very greatly appreciated. And let's jump straight into things. So the first game on the Friday night is Leicester City versus Birmingham City. And honestly, what a match this is to kick off the Championship weekend. I am so looking forward to this game, because last time we saw Birmingham City play against a team that got relegated from the Premier League, they really did give them a run for their money and were the better side by a mile in my opinion, and were unlucky not to walk away with 3 points. Of course, that one being at St Andrews. Now we're off to the King Power Stadium. We're going to Leicester City, where obviously it's going to be very tough for Birmingham going away from home against a team like Leicester, who they have got points on the board. They've got 6 points on the board so far, but I'm looking at their general performances and I'm thinking they haven't exactly filled me with any confidence so far, Martin Cifuentes and that Leicester City side. They've got undoubted quality in that starting 11, but I don't think they've really shown it in a 90-minute performance yet, which is disappointing if you're a Leicester fan looking at it from that perspective. As I say, they got a 1-0 win against Charlton. I think they rode their luck in the end, and the goalkeeper put in a masterclass performance. Fatawu pulled some out of the bag out of nowhere, but at the end of the day, when you've got them kind of quality players like Fatawu who can hurt a team at any given moment, it wasn't even a chance that he made the chance for himself, and it wasn't even a chance that he made. It was barely half a chance. It was such a such a difficult angle to score from. To curl that in the top corner is just unbelievable, and that's a testament to, as I say, the individual quality that Leicester have in that side. But as I say, performances wise, they haven't exactly filled me with confidence in any of the match. I think Charlton probably deserved a point minimum in that game. Obviously lost to Preston in a poor performance against them. And against Sheffield Wednesday, they should really be steamrolling a team like that, given the situation that Wednesday are in. That didn't happen in the end. Wednesday, very easily could have taken a point on another day if they didn't get a red card, and if they just held out for a few more minutes, they would have been able to hold out for a point. So this is a big opportunity for Leicester to kind of make a statement here and put a few things right in terms of their performance. But they're up against the Birmingham City side, which have been so impressive so far in the Championship, which have been really solid at the back, really difficult to break down. And as well as that, they're putting good performances as well in general in terms of their possession, in possession, out of possession. They're a very, very good team. The main criticism with Birmingham is that they've definitely not scored enough goals in the games. You look at the game against Ipswich, on another day they could have scored another goal, and that game would have been a win for Birmingham. You're talking about a 100% record to start off the season. Same against Sheffield United. You can say they dominated the game. They go and let one in from the halfway line from Hamer, and then you're frustrated. Of course, they ended up winning that game, of course, with a winner. But then you got Blackburn, which was probably Birmingham's worst performance out of the season so far. But 2 late goals, they had that kind of grit and determination to get through, and a good performance against Oxford. Oxford made it hard for them, but again, Birmingham City should have scored another goal at least in that game. Kyogo had some great chances. So as I say, Birmingham have been really impressive. Leicester not so much, but they have managed to get a few results. Only 1 point between the two teams as of the first 3 games, and I feel like the way things are going with the performance that Birmingham put in and how solid Birmingham have been defensively from, as I say, the pressing from the front it all comes from. I really think they've got a great opportunity to limit Leicester to not much. But as I say, Leicester have got that kind of individual quality where I do think they will be able to get something. They will be able to score a goal, I do think. As I said, I don't think they'll create all too much. Birmingham, I think, will be able to get themselves a goal as well. I feel like this is going to be a 1-1 draw. I feel like 1-1 is something that is quite a likely result, in my opinion, in this game. So I'm going to go for a 1-1, which I think both teams, I think Birmingham will probably take a point on the road, and as well as that, I do think Leicester City will probably take a point as well. And now we're on to the first early kicker, where we've got another really, really good game that's going to be very interesting. It's Middlesbrough versus Sheffield United, and honestly, it's not looking good for Sheffield United. They could very well get a result here, don't get me wrong, but to be bottom of the league, to have lost all your matches, to then go up against the Middlesbrough side, which have been very impressive in the Championship. You look at the results they've got so far. They had that horrendous cup performance, but if you take that out, they've been decent at the back. They've been hard to break down. They have, of course, let a few chances go the other way. They have definitely rode their luck, in my opinion, in games. But against Swansea, they limited Swansea to very little. They won the match 1-0. Nothing to really write home about, but a decent enough performance to get them the win. Millwall was definitely a statement win. An off day for Millwall, you've got to say, but to put 3 goals past Millwall, that is so rare to do. They were very clinical going forward. Millwall another day definitely could have scored at least a goal in that game. As I said, they did kind of ride their luck, but they were very clinical against Millwall. And a 3-0 win there, real statement win. And then another win against Norwich. They had 10 men, of course, when Norwich got themselves back into it with 10 men with a late goal from Josh Sargent. But Finn Azaz, Tommy Conway, if they can get the best out of these players, you look at that team, there's undoubted quality in that Middlesbrough side. And as I say, they underperformed so heavily under Michael Carrick last season. So disappointing. They've made a few decent transfers. I think Britain's a good signing over on the right-hand side. They need to get the best out of Morgan Whittaker. I've still not seen enough of him since he signed for Middlesbrough yet. But you look at that kind of midfield, you've got Hayden Hackney, Finn Azaz, you've got Aidan Morris, and as well as that, you've got Tommy Conway. You've got some real quality in that side. And as I say, if Rob Edwards can get them firing, then you've got a very, very good team there. Which, as I say, we spoke about numerous times in Middlesbrough last season. We thought they'd be up there come the end of the season in terms of even battling for automatic promotion, because you look at that kind of midfield to attack. It's such a good attack and so many quality players in there. We battled them last season, and Middlesbrough started the season very well. And it's a season where they've definitely gone under the radar in terms of how people were talking about them compared to what they were last season. Sheffield United, I mean, they created chances against Millwall on another day. They definitely could have had at least a goal in that match. So it was a bit of a better performance in terms of chance creation, because in the other games they've basically been useless. So a little bit better in terms of the positivity in terms of attacking play, but still no goals. And it's been very, very disappointing for Sheffield United so far, which still have a decent enough team. Like, that team should not be bottom of the league, let's be real. And a lot of people still put Sheffield United, right at the top of the table, up in like maybe 4th position, at least getting the playoffs. They've disappointed so far. And honestly, I think at the Riverside, I think it's going to get worse for them. I do think Middlesbrough are going to run out with a 1-0 win. I don't think Sheffield United are going to score. And I think Middlesbrough are going to be the side that walks away and goes 4 wins out of 4, which is crazy to say, because I did not see that coming. I don't think many people saw that coming at the start of the season with the way Middlesbrough fans were thinking going into the season. Now we're on to QPR versus Charlton, where obviously my club QPR were the favourites going into it. God knows, did they watch us on Saturday? But yeah, disappointing obviously for QPR, very disappointing. It's been an embarrassing start, especially that game. It's absolutely embarrassing. There's no excuses for losing a game 7-1. I know Coventry are a very good team in that, but you can't be conceding 7 goals. And it's the whole tactical setup for me from the manager in that game. We went 3-0 down. Don't change anything tactically. Keep playing the exact same way. It's just insanity, because it was never going to work against a Coventry side that are so clinical and were just cutting us open on the counter-attack left, right and centre. You'd think, let's just make a little tactical change. Let's kind of shut up shop and not absolutely embarrass ourselves. And we absolutely just carried on playing the way that we started the match, which obviously wasn't working. Conceded 7. Now, saying this now against Charlton, I've just got a feeling we're going to bounce back. I think after that result, it might be a little bit of a wake-up call. We've brought in 3 new signings now, by the way. Brought in Isaac Hayden, Koki Sato's come back as well, and Reece Norrington-Davies. Let's not talk about that one. But I've got a few new signings in. I feel like there's got to be some kind of reaction here. We can't go and play poorly again, otherwise there's serious questions over the manager. I think people, if we don't get a result in this game, people will start turning on the manager, and it's only been... people are talking about this manager needs to get sacked. He's managed 1 home match. He's managed 1 game at Loftus Road, and he's getting talked about getting the sack. That is just like how diabolical and how poor it really has been. And I do think we're going to bounce back and actually get something from this game. I'm going to be positive. Call me delusional. I'm going to back us for a 2-1 win. I'm going to back to go 2-0 up, Charlton pull 1 back, because we always seem to find a way to concede a goal. Maybe I'm a little bit delusional with that one. I'm not going to lie. But you've got to be a bit positive, haven't you, as a QPR fan, so don't hate me too much. Right, next up, we've got Stoke City versus West Bromwich. Another game. We've got so many good games this weekend. What a game this is going to be. West Brom have been really impressive so far this season, picking up 7 points. Honestly, in the game against Portsmouth, the referee, what was going on in that match? That was absolutely awful. And as well as that, obviously picking up a 3-2 win against Wrexham and a 1-0 win against Blackburn. It's been a pretty good start for West Brom. They've got some good firepower going forward. Isaac Price has been the main man, of course. Hegerberg as well looks like a bit of a handful up top. Mikey Johnson as well coming back, getting a couple of assists and a goal as well. Hopefully we can see the best of him, because when he first signed for West Brom, this guy was unbelievable. He kind of lost his way last season and almost got himself a move away from West Brom in the summer, but it'd be a great story to see him kind of find his best form as well. And I've liked what West Brom's done so far in the transfer market. I think they've made a couple of good signings. I think Nat Phillips is a really good addition at the back. I think West Brom are looking like a decent Championship outfit, which is what we expect from West Brom, by the way, as well. So as I say, I've been very impressed with West Brom, but the more surprising one is Stoke City, because the squad, there's no denying that Stoke squad is a quality squad. But the problem is, and a lot of people have kind of lost their faith with Stoke, and even Stoke fans themselves, with their constant underperforming, bringing in some decent players on paper and the squad looking good on paper, but never quite living up to that kind of hype and that kind of expectation that Stoke have. It seems to be a little bit different this season. Maybe they're selling as a dream with 3 wins out of 3, but you look at the goals that they've scored, they've been decent at the back. They've got an unbelievable goalkeeper in Johansson. You've got so much pace going forward. Of course, Mabama's suspended for this game, which isn't ideal, but you've got Million Man, who on his day is an unbelievable player. You've got Storber Thomas, which he started the season on absolute fire. Genuinely been the player of the season so far. If you're looking at these opening 3 matches, he's been the best player in the Championship. Them goal contributions, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. There's so much pace in that Stoke team on the counter attack. You got Lewis Baker, who can always, he's kind of good at late arriving into the box. He can shoot from range. He's got a great passing range as well. There's a real good balance this Stoke team, and Mark Robins is really starting to get things right. As I say, full season now under Mark Robins. Things are looking very good for Stoke. Do I think they're going to be able to keep this run going away? Oh, it's at home against West Brom, actually. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'm going to go for a draw. I think West Brom are a very, very good team. I think Stoke, of course, have proved that they're a very good team so far. And I think a point won't be a bad result for either side and maintain their unbeaten start. So we're going to go for a point apiece in that game. Now we're on to Blackburn Rovers versus Norwich City, where Blackburn, after a very, very difficult start, came and got themselves a 3-0 win against Hull City, and honestly were outstanding. Like, where has that performance come from? When you look at all the other games that Blackburn have played, they've been very, very poor. There is definitely quality in that Blackburn side, and as I said before, if they can get Todd Cantwell firing, which he has been over the last couple of games, then he's a player that can cause teams serious problems. He can dictate games. He's got a great passing range. He can carry the ball, and as well as he's got an eye for a goal as well. And with all the kind of change at Blackburn that's been over the course of this summer, having a player like Todd Cantwell is still around. He needs to step up this season. He needs to be that main man. We saw it in spells last season for Blackburn, but he just kind of fell away. And hopefully now under Van Ishmael, he can kind of be that guy to pull something out of the bag and get Blackburn some points single-handedly this season. Because I do think, I'm not sold on Blackburn yet. I'm not sold on Valérien Ismaël. But as I say, Todd Cantwell is a player that could really step up against a Norwich City side, which which just lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough. They've got firepower, Norwich. I've said numerous times, I think Josh Sargent will be the top scorer, but is it kind of a case of Josh Sargent just being that, like, too much beyond Josh Sargent's shoulders, if I can actually speak properly? Is it a case of that? They brought in a good defender in the back in Harry Darlan, who's a very good defender in my opinion, top Championship defender right up there. And as I say, there's still kind of a lot to be desired with this Norwich side right now, other than Josh Sargent. There's still a little bit more I need to see from them. But so far, they've got a win against Portsmouth, loss against Millwall, disappointing, and disappointing loss against Borough as well. And I feel like in this game, I'm going to have to go for another draw. I feel like it's going to be goals, because there's always goals with Norwich City. So we're going to go 2-2 in that game. Let's have a bit of an exciting one. And I feel that's not a bad result. The Bristol City versus Hull City. Of course, Hull City coming off the back of that loss against Blackburn, which kind of come out of nowhere, because Hull have been pretty decent so far in the Championship season. Of course, beating Oxford, as well as that. They got a well-earned point against Coventry as well, where they were really solid. Ollie McBurney up top, of course, the start of the season pretty well, you'd say, for Hull City. Gelhardt as well. There's some very good players in that Hull City squad, and a lot of people predicted them to go down. I'd put them a little bit above relegation. I do think they'll be down there, but I don't know if they'll get relegated. I've been bringing Lundstrom as well, of course, experienced Championship player, up against that Bristol City team, which have really impressed me so far this season. Of course, on that opening game against Sheffield United were unbelievable. And then they had that draw against Charlton, where Charlton are a very difficult team to play against. They're always going to make it hard. And as well as that, then a 1-1 against Derby, which they definitely should have watched. They definitely should have won that game. I watched the game on Friday night. They were the better side. They were in complete control. They just kind of took their foot off the gas, and they should have gone for the second goal, and they didn't. And ended up getting caught out by it, because Carlton Morris getting Derby a late equaliser. They'll be absolutely kicking themselves to not get a win in that game. Because, as I say, I think their performances have been very decent, and they maybe deserve at least another win. At least in that game, they deserve to win. Scott Twine's been unbelievable, and the Bristol City attack does look very good in my opinion going forward. You got some good wing backs as well in the side, and a really good system, which is kind of obviously the same three at the back, which they use under Liam Manning in terms of that kind of formation. And I've been really impressed with Bristol City so far this season. So I do think Bristol City will be able to get themselves a result, especially with it being at home. So I am going to go for a 2-0 Bristol City win, in my opinion, in that game. Right, we're on to the next one now, where we're on to Ipswich Town versus Derby County. Two teams that have very much struggled at the start of the season. Derby County, it's been very disappointing. Of course, they got themselves a point in the last match against Bristol City. Did they deserve it? Absolutely not. Against Coventry, it wasn't good enough defensively. It was an absolute shambles. And as well as that against Stoke as well, it wasn't really a good performance. We're yet to really see a good performance from this Derby County side. And what better time is there to see a good performance than against Ipswich Town, against the team that were the favourites and are the favourites going into this season in the Championship. The main positive with Derby County so far has been Carlton Morris. He's really found his feet so far at Derby County, and he's looked like a real presence and a real handful up top. Some of the other signings I'm just not quite sold on. The back line's a little bit shaky, and just the team in general I'm looking at and thinking this actually could be down there come the end of the season. Of course, they've got players still to come in terms of new signings that have been on the bench, and a couple of players injured as well. They're going to have a much stronger squad than what it shows there, but I have been disappointed, very much disappointed with Derby County so far. And Ipswich Town, again, it's no side that I've really been disappointed with this season. I think Kayuse needs to come into that team now and start instead of Taylor. George Hurst and Dotson, of course, have got Akpom as well now. I think the wingers, it's not really working out. They look great on paper in terms of Philogene and Jack Klopp, but it hasn't really worked out in any of their time at Ipswich since they've transferred. And as I say, things just haven't quite clicked for Kieran McKenna this season in Ipswich. So will it click in this game? I do think it will. I do think Ipswich will come out of the win. With it being at Portman Road, I'm going to go for an Ipswich 2-1 win. I think it won't be easy for them, but I think they should really be getting a win against Derby County. And if they're not winning this game, Ipswich, then I am starting to get very, very concerned about them, because it's 4 games in only, yes, but if they don't get a win, it's no wins out of 4 for a team that's meant to be walking the division this season. Right, we're on to Millwall versus Wrexham now, where Wrexham, of course, I mean, they got booed off against Sheffield Wednesday. It was desperately disappointing to go 2-0 up and not win the match against a team that obviously is in the situation that Wednesday are in. It's embarrassing. The defence hasn't been good enough. They conceded too many goals. You look at that, 2-3 against Hull in the Cup, 3 against West Brom, 2 against Wednesday. It's not been good enough in terms of that. They have made some good signings. Obviously, they've spent a lot of money and we're expecting much more. Phil Parkinson, as I say, they got booed off. Like, if they're not going to get results, then there's just going to be more and more pressure on Phil Parkinson and on that Wrexham team. So as I say, with the money spent, they've obviously got to have big expectations to at least be well clear of relegation. And right now they haven't really looked all too great at all. Of course, they've been a little bit unlucky in games. Against Southampton, I thought they were good. Against West Brom, I didn't think they were bad either. Obviously, they had a good 45 against Wednesday, but they haven't really put a full 90-minute performance in terms of them being consistently good throughout the whole of the match yet. And as I say, they made some good signings, but I'm a little bit concerned about Wrexham in terms of what they're actually doing here. Up against the Millwall side, which realistically have been pretty decent. You take away that result against Middlesbrough, which you can kind of just call an off day, because you look at Millwall last season, they barely ever conceded that many goals in a match. It might have happened maybe once last season. It might not have even happened at all. And as I say, other than that, they've actually put in decent performances. They've been solid at the back. They've been hard to break down, and they've been resolute defensively. Kramer coming in, by the way, instead of Jeffet Tanganga, who looks to be off to Sheffield United. I think he was really good at the back last game for Millwall. Ivanovic up top, Kundal as well. They got some real good players in that Millwall team, and just a very solid unit in general. So I do think Millwall will be able to pick up the result against Wrexham here, with it being at the Den as well. I think it'll be difficult for Wrexham. I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Millwall in this game. Maybe I'm being maybe I should have given Wrexham a goal. We'll go 1-0. Right, on to Oxford versus Coventry. Of course, Coventry been bagging goals left, right and centre. This team has been an absolute joke so far this season. Of course, 7 past us, 5 past Derby. Up against an Oxford team now which are yet to get a point. Oxford are going to have to start putting a performance in and try and get themselves something out of this game. I think it's going to be difficult for them up against that Coventry team, which, as I say, I just look at that team and think there's just so much firepower. They've got pace on the wings, Thomas Asante, Mason Clark, Hadji Wright, Jack Radoni pulling the strings, Matt Grimes, deep line playmaker, building attacks. Victor Torp's got a goal in him as well. Van Ebeck already 3 assists from right back. They've just got so much pace, so much firepower. Frank Lampard, he's getting the best out of this Coventry City side right now. There's no denying that. So as I say, I think Coventry are full of confidence going into this game against Oxford. I mean, they limited Birmingham, let's be real. They defended pretty well for the majority of the game. But in terms of creativity, they haven't really created much. And I look at that team and think that could be relegation fodder this season. Of course, Cameron Brannigan being the main man, captain, he's the guy who's been there for years. I'm a little bit concerned about Oxford, I'm not going to lie. And I do feel like it could get worse. I don't think they're going to get absolutely smashed because they're not that bad defensively. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Coventry City in that one. Because I just think Actually, I'm going to go 2-1 because I feel like Coventry defensively they do sometimes just concede a goal here and there. So I'm going to go 2-1 in that game. And now we're on to the next one where we're on to Portsmouth versus Preston. Where Portsmouth so far this season, of course, getting a draw, getting a hard-earned point against West Brom. I think the ref was definitely on their side in my opinion. And then a good win against Oxford on the first day of the season, really good performance, and a 2-1 loss to Norwich. It's been a bit of a mixed bag for Portsmouth so far. They're in the middle of the table right now. I think they'll be in the middle of the table come the end of the season. They've got a decent attack, and as well as that, they're just a solid unit under John Mousinho, who's a very good coach. So I do like this Portsmouth team, but do I think they're going to be able to get a result at home to Preston, who have actually been one of the surprise packages so far this season? Preston have getting big results against two of the newly promoted sides in Leicester City and Ipswich. And they've surprised a lot of people. Have surprised me. I think the wing-backs have been really impressive. Thierry Small especially. As did say he was one of the signings that actually complimented with Preston. That's a really good signing. Valentin surprisingly he's been good on the over and the wing back side. They got kind of Paul Heckingbot's got kind of a system in place where it's much better than last season in terms of the personnel, in terms of players. Now they've got a bit more energy, a few more runners. Of course they had Majic last season, but as Majic seems to have kind of gone up a level this season. Alfie Devine I think it's a really good sign. I really do like that team, and Everton in goals done very well so far. I think Preston are a decent team and they'll definitely make it hard for Portsmouth. With it being at Portsmouth, I'm going to go for a draw in this game. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this one. Right, we are now on to Sheffield Wednesday versus Swansea, where, of course, Wednesday getting a massive point in their last match against Wrexham, and a really good performance. And honestly, if the game had gone on for any longer, Wednesday are going to go and win that game. So I think they'll be slightly disappointed that that they didn't get 3 points in that game, because they'll see that as a big opportunity in terms of, you know, when you're on top in games. Of course, they end up getting a point, which is fantastic. But, you know, they want to be getting wins in games where they actually are dominating the matches, which obviously we expect to be rare this season. So disappointing to get a draw, but overall, they'll be so proud to get themselves a point at the same time. Kind of, as I say, it's kind of a blessing that they ended up coming back from 2-0 down, like they would have taken that 100%. Then you look at it, as I say, they could have maybe won the game on another day. And now up against the Swansea City side, which have been a bit of a mixed bag as well so far this season. A 1-0 loss against Middlesbrough, not very much in that game at all. 1-0 win against Sheffield United, which was a very good performance to be fair in that game, so that's been a very good performance. And then a game against Watford where, again, you say there, just looking at the stats there, they were probably slightly the better side, got themselves an equaliser. It's probably a point was probably a fair result in that game. Aaron Kunda scored an unbelievable free kick, by the way, in that game. So, as I say, I think Swansea City have been kind of a mixed bag so far. They've not been bad, they've not been unbelievable or anything like that. Sat in the middle of the table, but I do think they'll be able to get themselves a result against Wednesday. I think Wednesday will make it tough for them, but I think Swansea will come out with a 2-1 win. And now on to the final game. Unfortunately, no Sunday games. That's disappointing. I always like a championship game on a Sunday. Just an extra one in there, but no, we don't have one this week. It's Watford versus Southampton. I'm looking at Watford's injury list. Jesus Christ, that is bad, because they've got some important players there that are all out for this game, which is not ideal in the slightest. Watford, as I say, Aaron Kunda's been so impressive so far for Watford. I've been really impressed with him. Watch out for him this season. He picked up a goal and assist already. He's going to be a very good player to watch and a very good player over the course of this season. And Watford have been pretty decent. The striker as well. I mean, he played against QPR and absolutely destroyed us. And they got some decent players, Watford have. They've got a decent team, I'd say. As I say, I did predict Watford in kind of top half of the table, I think. I think they're going to have a decent enough season this season. Up against Southampton, I think they're definitely going to make it tough for them. I really think it's going to be a tough game for Southampton. And I feel like it's going to continue. I think these newly promoted sides, these relegated sides, aren't really having it their own way. And I think Watford are going to be able to come out with something here. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I'm going to get an Aaron Kunda goal and an equaliser from Southampton. Southampton will push, but it'll be a 1-1 draw in that game. So let me know what you think of that in the comment section down below. Of course, a really good start to the season. Let me know with your team who you support. Let me know how you think you're going to get on in this game week. I'll be very interested to get your thoughts. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe as well if you are new around here. It takes 1 second. If you watch this point, we do predictions every single week and reviews and everything about the championship. So do hit that subscribe button. It'll be very greatly appreciated. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.